don't forget to check out Bias Premier League show this week. We've got a brilliant show. Of course, Arsenal sitting pretty at the top of the league. And we'll also be finding out who are the big idiot of the week. And that boohoo man with White Yardie and also Ty.
Peace.
You don't want to miss it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Welcome to the Tactical Insight Show. Also going to the international break. 8 points ahead. Everyone keeps saying clear. When there's a game in hand, it doesn't feel clear. But 8 points ahead of Manchester City because of a really impressive 4-1 win against Crystal Palace. I'm back with Graham. We were both at the game, which was great. So we really got to see the bigger picture, the full thing, which I don't always necessarily think you get a better idea for the game by being at the ground. I think there's benefits to watching on TV. There's better benefits to watching it at the game. But what you do get is the kind of the full map of the pitch sometimes. And it's going to be very interesting breaking this down together. But welcome, Graham. Good to see you.
Good morning, mate. Yeah, after the disappointment of the midweek exit in the Europa League to Sporting Lisbon, Arsenal took advantage, James, of Man City being in cup action, as you said, to go 8 points clear with 10 games to go in the Premiership race by brushing aside managerless Crystal Palace, who just sacked our legend, Patrick Vieira. Well, I thought a scintillating forward display yesterday. And 4 great goals. You have to say that this Palace team has been winless in 12, but they haven't been conceding goals. They'd only conceded 9 in 10. And after sort of an opening period where we struggled, I thought, to get Bukayo Saka in the game, in the end, the game became very much about Bukayo Saka with 2 goals and an assist. And, in the end, a really scintillating performance yesterday. Yeah,
it was. I completely and utterly agree. And we're going to go straight into it with the match stats. Always, if you're regular watchers of the Tactical Insight Show, firstly, a big thank you for your support. And secondly, you will know what's coming. And it is the match stats. 5 out of our 15 shots on target. 4 of Palace's 8 were on target. We're 62% of the ball. No surprises there. That means clocking up more passes. And the next year, 1.8. That didn't surprise me when I saw it because I actually felt Arsenal was sublime.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a peppering of their goal. No. I thought Arsenal were just very controlled and knew when to find the openings. And they were very efficient.
They weren't. It's a very typical Mikel Arteta team performance, wasn't it? I thought that we were very clinical in front of goal, James. So, we had sort of like 5 of our 15 shots on target and scored 4 goals. So you have to say we were efficient. Palace were a threat early on, created the first clear chance when Wilfried Zaha had the shot, which Ramsdale made a good save actually. He tipped it onto the post and it came back, hit him on the head, and I had visions of another Emi Martinez moment, and it went that side of the post. That was a warning for us. They offered that as an outlet in transition, the pace of Elise and Zaha. But overall, I think once we got into the game and we tactically adjusted in the game that we're going to talk about today, the way we really, in the end, sorted out our right-hand side, which I thought won us the game, we dominated the game. And we had 62% possession. And as you can see by passes, massively outpassed them as passes completed, and once again outscored our XG.
Yeah, completely agree. Let's go into the attacking stats because that is what we enjoy. The attacking football Arsenal play, many more. Well,
yeah, and again,
almost double the final.
Yeah, I think we're ahead in all those stats quite comfortably. And the field tilt, almost 3/4 of the field tilt. I think that is impressive attacking stats for us.
Agreed. Let's go to the defensive stats. Now, let me just ask you this a bit off the cuff. I felt, even Palace had some chances. Don't get me wrong, they could have gone 1-0 up, as you mentioned, with that Zaha chance, and then actually a 3-1, Zaha pulls on wide. I actually thought, it's very rare, because of the quality in the Premier League, it's very rare that you're going to go through a whole game like the Leicester away performance where they had no chances. I mean, and that's not even hyperbolic. They had 0 chances in that game. There's always going to be something the opposition does. I actually felt Arsenal looked a lot better today against Palace than they did in the Everton 4-0 win, in the Bournemouth 3-2, in the Brentford 1-1. In terms of, maybe you could argue the sporting game, but in terms of how open we looked and how vulnerable we looked kind of going the other way and in transition, I thought we looked better. Is that just me?
No, I 100% agree with you. And we did come into the game, James, with 1 or 2 defensive problems to solve.
That's true.
Tomiyasu was obviously injured in midweek. And looks like he might be out for the season. And then we lost a keeper, William Saliba.
Yeah, wish him
and
all
Rob
the best,
Holding come in. And we're going to praise Rob Holding today because I thought it was a brilliant Rob Holding performance. And him and Gabriel, a really good partnership. I thought we defended really well in the game. And Holding was the more front-footed defender. When Saliba and Gabriel play, it's Gabriel who's engaging and Saliba mopping up. And I thought this time it was Gabriel holding back more and holding more the engaging sort of centre half. And Holding had a brilliant performance. I thought we defended really well as a team.
Yeah.
We had that, as you say, it's impossible to dominate a whole game, and you're going to have moments defensively. We went 3 up, were totally in control, and then they had that little period where they got the goal from a corner.
Yeah.
You know, again, we conceded from a corner, which is disappointing.
Yeah.
Then they had that second chance. Zaha flashed the ball across the box, and it went narrowly wide. And, you know, for 10 minutes, we were not in control. The control we had, we lost, but then we regained it again. But overall, I thought we were defensively good yesterday. Completely
agree. Let's have a look at the 11s then. Where are they? Arsenal versus Palace. Here we go. Now, I think let's do the Rob Holding praise very quickly, because you are right. He came into the team. He was absolutely superb. I thought he was very good against Sporting. And I think obviously because of the manner of the exit, he wasn't ever really going to get the credit he deserved from that. But I thought he was brilliant. And I think he's a real defensive defender. Does that make sense?
Well, he likes defending the penalty box.
He wins his headers. He gets blocks in. He does all that.
But you've got to know, a lot of people are questioning, because obviously the way Arteta plays, we played like a 3-2-5, and the 2 centre halves are literally up high, aren't they? And so people were worried about his recovery speed, and if he got dragged into wide areas, people were worried about that. I thought Palace missed a trick yesterday. They didn't look to expose him in wide areas. They played down the middle, like towards Ed Ward, and Holding won every single duel. It was a typical Rob Holding defensive performance to his strength. He showed his strengths as a defender. He's a penalty box defender mainly, but he showed his strengths as a defender. And I thought that he had a really good game. He kept it simple. He kept us ticking over. I mean, Saliba, we asked Saliba not only to sort of like, you know, with his recovery speed, we asked him to progress the play. And I thought Holding was really neat and tidy the way he moved the ball from left to right.
Yep.
And I thought he had a really good performance.
Yeah, I think he did too. Now, the first 20-25 minutes, a little bit like with Fulham.
Yeah.
Feeling our way into it. You can see Arsenal confident. You can see they ping it around and they've got possession. They're not worrying. There's nothing to be concerned about that first 20 minutes. But we weren't peppering their goal either, like I said, and the XG kind of shows it. Arsenal were, I think, waiting for their moments and probing and understanding Palace a little bit. And this right-hand side was something you wanted to touch on, because, okay, Martinelli gets the opening goal. It's a brilliant finish, by the way. Right-hand side. Yeah, and actually, let me just say, fair play to Martinelli. He's probably not going to get the credit in this show, only because we've got so much to talk about, but what a response to get the opening goal at 0-0. He does that a lot. He gets important goals.
He does.
Like the West Ham one, very similar, you know, brings it onto his left foot, slashes it, that time we went near post rather than far post. At that point, it was level in the game, so he gets important goals. Saka with the assist, whether he meant to find Martinelli or not, who cares? It was a brilliant, you know, ball across goal. But the right-hand side you wanted to touch on.
Yeah, I just want to touch, before I do that, on Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
I just want to say that whenever he's scored a goal in a game, we haven't lost a game.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think he scored something like the last 26 times that he scored in, we had 23 wins and 3 draws. That's an incredible stat.
Well, that's why they chalked off the goal at Old Trafford then.
Yeah, and I don't take credit for that. A guy called Harvey Downs.
Oh, yes.
Who's a great purveyor of Arsenal stats. I saw he put that out last night, yeah. So I thought that this was interesting, the setup yesterday. You know, when I've seen Crystal Palace this season, they haven't been a great pressing team. They haven't got that freak presser they had last year in Conor Gallagher. It was almost like gave him extra dimension the way he pressed off the ball and an extra energy. So they didn't have him yesterday. So I thought that without that, Arsenal will be able to sort of like be comfortable on the ball and they wouldn't be engaging. Expecting them to, I was just questioning, because sometimes when a new manager comes in, you don't know whether he's going to sort of like, how he's going to set up, or whether they're going to play a 4 or 5. We've seen teams, Arsenal struggle more this season with teams with like a back 5 and 4 in front. So he went with the back 4, but he went 4-2-3-1. So he had like his back 4, he had his 2 holding midfielders, Decore and Milivojevic. And Sloop, it was almost like playing as a number 10. Now, I thought in that first 20 minutes, what they did really well was, so if I just move Xhaka up to here, and I just move Odegaard up to here, and Sloop, so when Partey was coming up, so you got Partey, so Trossard by now has gone forward, and then you got, I'll just move Sloop into here. So we were pushing up, right? So Zinchenko was like inverting.
Yeah, as he always does.
White was coming up, and you got Holding and Gabriel pushing up. Yeah. So, if you look at that now, the way Palace have got this, their midfield 3 has taken care of our midfield 3 when we got the ball. We're up high, right? So Xhaka is obviously being taken care of on the left hand side. Odegaard is being watched by Decore on our right-hand side, and significantly, I thought Schlupp was taking care of Partey.
Or trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Partey is very essential to the way we want to progress the ball, right? And we were struggling to get Bukayo Saka in the game. Arsenal like to build up, as you know, in their 3-2-5 shape, get the 5 lanes up high, invert in and have your 3 there, your 5 lanes up high, with your 2 in midfield, your 3 here and your 2 there. Get it sorted out. Finally get me sorted out what I'm trying to say. Now, I thought in that first 20 minutes, Palace were holding us in that shape. And I thought we tweaked it slightly, and there was a break in play, I think, when one of their players went over and they came over to the touchline to talk to Arteta. And I think some instructions were given out, and I don't know whether this was the case, but this is what it felt like. I thought then Partey came deeper because he was up high and Schlupp was engaging with him. He started to come deeper to get on the ball, to give him the space. And then I think the subtle tweak was Ben White.
Yeah.
So Ben White came inverted, he was out wide. And that made Zaha come narrow. And Partey was now, if you draw a line, can you draw a line? You get a pen today?
Yeah.
And that enabled Partey, I thought, to start controlling the play more and slipping balls out to Saka on the right-hand side. I think the aim is always like to get him one-on-one with Mitchell.
Yeah.
It's not moving for me there.
Mitchell doesn't want to move. So the idea is...
The idea is to get them one-on-one, isn't it? That is essentially what they want to do, Arsenal.
This brings in Chenko and Field as well, just to
move them out for me. Yeah, so we've got now our shape there, and now we've Zaha's come narrow. Schlupp has not gone as high to Partey, giving Partey the chance to get the ball out wide. Now I think then the key to Arsenal when they do that is what Benjamin White does. So once you've then created the space, I think Odegaard is then dragging Decore and Gaya is here. So he's been occupied. Odegaard is being occupied by those 2 players, which creates space, and then I think Ben White then comes up to support Bukayo Saka, right? And Zaha is not always to switch on to react to that. We know he's not defensively great. So once Arsenal got this situation, I think this was the key to unlocking Crystal Palace. It's the combination, the subtle tweak. Arteta's coaching. He puts players close together in a team, in an environment where they can express themselves, and he tweaks it slightly depending on what the opposition are doing, and it creates situations that enable us to win games. And I think this was seen yesterday. And I think the key was really getting Partey on the ball away from Schlupp. And I think Schlupp was marking really well early on, but when Partey came deeper, he was getting on the ball.
Didn't want to get pulled out of shape.
Didn't want to get pulled out of shape. And then he's able to slide across. Then the key then is, once Saka's got the ball, now he then, this season, out wide, is being smashed. And we're going to talk about that a lot by a defender. Now, this Benjamin White's position is key here, because whenever he gets the ball, he now looks for this run by Saka from out to in. And I think this is a massive change in the way that Saka, who hugs the touchline now, we're getting him closer to goal in legitimate goal-scoring positions, so he can either have a shot or create an opening. And we suckered the Crystal Palace defence right over for that first goal. And then when White releases Saka down this side, and he's going to play it across, their defence gets sucked across, Ward's over here, and then Martinelli is going to make the run in at the back stick. Yeah. Now, and then Saka is going to deliver the cross over to Martinelli. Now, I think this was the way he put his foot through that ball, that shot from Martinelli, was absolutely really solid, James, because that was a great hit. And he took it one touch in his stride, left peg, bang.
Decided early what he was going to do. Yeah.
Took it round Ward and shoots across the goal into the corner. But it comes primarily through what we did, the tweak on the right-hand side, the combination play between Benjamin White and Bukayo Saka, getting Saka behind Mitchell, not being out wide here. Yeah. White understanding that they're almost like a sync between them. This is worked on the training ground, I think, and it was replicated in the second goal where that comes from coaching on the training field. The way that White released Saka to run into here, to get him in. Zaha, who switched off for just a moment, allowed him to get into the box, and he buried it into the corner. So I thought the key was that subtle tweak by Arteta in the first half, the way that Partey came deeper to receive the ball. White then sort of like drew Zaha in narrow to create the space, with Odegaard moving up higher, taking away Decore and Gia to occupy them to create the space. And then White's understanding with Saka, the assist for the first goal for Martinelli, an unbelievable strike. And credit to Martinelli, missed the penalty on Thursday, didn't let it affect him, put it away brilliantly. And then the second goal, where White takes advantage, he waits for Saka to make that subtle movement, and then he plays him in and he finishes sublimely. So I think we were 2 up at half time, we were having trouble in the first half. That's what I noticed changed. We had, excuse me, that we unlocked them.
Yep. And I think you are right. There's small things that can just make a massive, massive difference. You know, and we know that whether it's Xhaka, Zinchenko, Martinelli, Gabriel, the way they all interchange, or Trossard drifting left, they're small little things. Sometimes Xhaka will be wide left, sometimes he'll be up high. It's the same on the right. Sometimes Partey will come across to be almost a deep lying playmaker so that White can get out forward and support. Sometimes they want to get Saka more in field, so Odegaard has to go wide. And they're not really changing their position or anything. It's just an instinctive thing that we need to get certain players in different areas of the pitch, so we're going to adapt. Bukayo Saka, and I want to hold my hands up, I didn't think this was his best game at all. I thought he was good, in terms of general performance. But how can you argue with someone who has come out in a game where you need to respond, and he's delivered 2 goals, 2 brilliant goals, by the way, and an assist, played the full 90, and he's someone that I love seeing this, that he cannot be at his best and yet still register big moments, have big moments in games. He's always going, he's always trying to make things happen. That's what, as I said, 2 goals out the 4 in the game, 1 assist as well, played the full 90, 55 touches, 3 shots, 3 key passes, 2 crosses. He won a tackle, 70% pass completion, 4 passes in the penalty area as well, and that leaves his league goal tally on 12 and his league assist tally with 10 as well.
But like all great players, James, even when they're not quite at it or they're not making it happen, they just need that one moment. And he's such a brilliant player that you're not going to contain him for the full 90 minutes.
No, you're not.
And he's always just going to need that one opportunity. Arteta structures the team up brilliantly to enable him to sort of like take advantage of the positional play that we create, and he just needs that one moment to explode. And I thought, like you, they contained him for 20 minutes. I kept thinking to myself, watching the game live yesterday, we're not getting Saka in the game. And all of a sudden then, as I said, it seemed to be that slight tweak where we sort of like changed the way we were building up. We started to get him in the game, and then he makes those brilliant out to in runs. And the combination with Ben White was absolutely pure joy yesterday.
It was.
And what a great performance, 2 goals and assists. 22 goal involvements for him now in 25 games.
And these, that's mentioned here in the numbers. I mean, here you got Saka provided his 20th, you sent this all through, I wish I could take credit. Saka provided his 25th Premier League assist, aged 21 years and 195 days old. Only Fabregas, Rooney and Trent Alexander-Arnold have got there quicker in terms of how young they were when they got there. List of 10 plus goals and assists for Arsenal in the Premier League: Bergkamp, Henry, Van Persie, Fabregas, Walcott, Cazorla, Sanchez.
Wow,
Bukayo,
he's in great company then.
Saka.
He's in great company.
Unbelievable company. I'm surprised Mesut Ozil's not in that. I mean, I guess he didn't score that many goals in a season, but Premier League goal involvements: Haaland 33. This obviously includes assists. 33 goals and assists. Kane 23. Saka 22. That is the top 3. A phenomenal set of output from Bukayo Saka, and he's also the youngest player to score 10 plus goals and register 10 plus assists for Arsenal since Fabregas in 2009-10. Unbelievable set of records, numbers.
Look how old he is. Look how old he is.
I know.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
He's absolutely superb. Let's talk about Ben White, as we were talking about him there with that goal. Go through his numbers as well. So he didn't get a goal, he did get an assist in the game. Played 83 minutes. Interesting seeing him come off so Jorginho could come on. Partey moved to right back. Won't discuss it too much today, but we'll obviously keep an eye on that, see if that's something that Arteta does more of in the future. 66 touches, 25 final third passes, 9 passes into the final third, 6 times possession won, 5 touches in the opposition box, 3 interceptions, wasn't dribbled past once, which says something when you're playing against Wilfried Zaha.
He had a brilliant performance. The combination with him and Saka now is absolutely immense up high. The 3 of them there, you've got Odegaard. Interesting, I looked at the average positions on the pitch. Once again, they're very close together. And it was replicated on the left-hand side. I want to make one point before you move on. Sorry, and it was a brilliant point actually made by a guy called Jason Clark, who does fan cams for AFTV. And check his fan cam out if you can find it on the AFTV after-match fan cams. He made a great point. And I think England could well be missing a trick here, James. We've got Saka is obviously the future, I think, of England on that right side. Benjamin White, if Southgate can change the way we play, and sort of like develop maybe this sort of maybe inverted sort of like play that Arteta does, that would get more out of Benjamin White.
Yeah.
And that understanding that Benjamin White would have with Saka and maybe a number 8 would, I think, be good for England. So yeah, it's an interesting point. But I thought Benjamin White yesterday, and also people were worried about Zaha. He was holding back at times in that first half because he recognised the danger of Zaha. So he was, and I think that he defended against Zaha really well. Zaha only had that one he flashed across the box in the second half, and he did have a shot in the first half, but generally Benjamin White took care of him.
I thought he was absolutely sublime. Now, you mentioned passing.
Yeah.
The out to in, the way they combine. You also met Clive Palmer from Arsenal Vision podcast outside the Emirates on the day, and you guys got talking. Yeah. So I'm going to let you take it away because it's his thought, and it's very interesting.
Those of you who don't know about Clive Palmer, he's on the award-winning Arsenal Vision podcast. He's a hero of mine. I've followed his work for a long time now. Nobody gets Arsenal better than what Clive gets Arsenal. Nobody understands football better than what Clive does, in my opinion. And nobody tactically breaks it down better than what Clive does. So it was a real honour for me to meet him yesterday. Yeah. And he made a great point to me when we were talking outside the stadium, when I came out the stadium. And that is about Bukayo Saka, because he made the point that he is getting smashed a lot out wide. And so he talked about what happened in this game, the way that Arteta solved that, with Benjamin White, sort of like, do you want to move that for me? Here you go.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it, yeah. So I'm going to take the ball with me. But and he made the point about this new fact that Saka now is making these out-to-in runs, and it involves Benjamin White coming over here and then playing him in. So he made a great point that he's found a solution now that, on the right side, the combination of Odegaard, the fact that Saka was getting hit out wide, because we like to stretch the pitch, don't we, in this 3-2-5. And when Saka was getting hit by defenders, being doubled up on, now it's quite clever what we've now developed, the way that we build it up high. White then combines with Saka, and Saka will just wait for the right moment. It's all about you create the space, understand the space, wait for the space to appear, and then go. And that's what
and stay on side.
Stay on side, obviously, because we had a couple of goals checked yesterday. But yeah, Clive made a great point about the way Arteta has solved that problem with Saka being smashed out wide and now able to come inside, and that partly because of how good Ben White is.
Yeah, I honestly think Arsenal invented a new pass. Now people might laugh at that, and all I'll say is I think it's the kind of thing you notice when your team are doing it. There are certain little details that are so small that maybe other people say, I don't know, I've never seen teams do this. Now, I think the way, and again, I'm jumping on someone else's, Clive's analysis and your thoughts there, so I might be slightly wrong, but this is kind of my interpretation of it slightly, that there's kind of two ways Arsenal do it. If we look on the left-hand side, we'll start with Gabriel and Marte. I had a really good view of it from my seat yesterday. Now, in this situation, I've got the Palace fullback who's come across. You've got the Palace centre-back who's keeping an eye, and then you've got the Palace winger. So you're talking Ward, Elise, maybe. Now, I think there's two ways. Firstly, it's we want to block the pass into Martinelli because we don't want him to receive the ball and then run at the fullback. So what you get is Arsenal responding to that by that threaded ball inside to Martinelli, and it is just it's so interesting because normally you might see a ball over the top and behind, you might just see them try and punch it out wide or whatever, or you might even see the player go, okay, cool, I'll turn inside and carry it myself. But the ball inside into congested space, the weight of pass is so important. If you get that wrong, they're there to just hack you down, but no player wants to concede free kicks in that area, and it's much easier to run onto a ball than it is waiting for it and trying to also kind of maintain body strength and a low centre of gravity for when the player comes crashing into you behind. So that's when they're trying to block off the pass. I think sometimes you also find that actually they're saying, we want you to pass it into Saka. So rather than blocking the pass, they're saying, no, get it, because we want to trap you out there. But again, they've sussed it out, and we show it here with the white one. He'll just come wide and he'll just thread it into Saka's feet again.
I think the other thing is, that's a great point you make, is that we don't have, like with Kieran Tierney not in the team, Zinchenko's obviously not always up high. So we haven't got the overlap on the left-hand side like what we've got on the right-hand side, where Benjamin White can do one or two things. He can either thread it into Saka, or he can go on the outside. He made some great runs in the first half.
Yeah, he did,
Saka was sort of like playing him, waiting again, delivering the right pass to him to get crosses in. And I think what the key is, sometimes when we go down the left-hand side, where Zinchenko is not up high as an outlet, he's more inverted. Obviously, Granit Xhaka's up there in the left half space. But the team, when the opposition are over on that side of the pitch, Martinelli will then sort of like, the team have drifted over the other side of the pitch, will then dribble across the pitch, and then we've created a space on this right-hand side because we've played up on that our left-hand side. Their defence has shifted over to that side, and we're looking to switch it over to Saka on this side. And I think Martinelli did that really well on several occasions yesterday.
We've spent a lot of time praising what Arsenal do really well, out wide, and rightly so. But I'm really loving what Arsenal are doing in central areas as well, and in terms of, of course, we're top of the league. We're excelling in all areas right now. But I just mean, in terms of the way that we're able to cut through teams, I think it's very easy when teams are a deep block to think we've got to play around and we've got to find the overlaps, the underlaps, something like that. Arsenal are doing really well to play through teams. And I think it comes through two players in particular, and that's Trossard and Xhaka right now. Trossard is the falsest of false nines, and I said this off camera. The falsest of false nines. There are times where I was watching the game, Odegaard goes all the way to the right, Xhaka goes all the way to the left, and the players almost at the base are Partey, Zinchenko with some help, and Trossard, who is honestly in sometimes deeper areas than Xhaka and Odegaard, and I'm going to show you what I mean. Now, we saw the return of box-to-box Xhaka a little bit against Fulham. I thought he looked, this particular move here, where Odegaard comes inside, threads it into Trossard. It's a brilliant run from Xhaka. And then, unfortunately, he just gets his touch wrong because he gives Leno the opportunity to come back and smother it. But again, playing through teams, I love seeing that. Then, we go to his goal against Sporting. Now, this is not a game that we want to spend a lot of time talking about, but let's not pretend this goal didn't happen. It's a brilliant goal. Now again, let's look at the positions of everyone. Jorginho's on the ball. Where's Zinchenko? He's really tucked in. You can barely see them, but they're there. Martinelli's really high and wide. Nelson is actually all the way out here, but he's not important for this moment. But again, Xhaka and Vieira are ready to make the run before Jesus. That's what I mean by how deep they come. It's unbelievable. It's not that Xhaka and Vieira are there to try and string the passes and combine. Yeah, they do that sometimes. Jesus in this situation has come really, really deep, and the ball's over the top from Jorginho. It's absolutely fantastic. I think Jorginho got enough credit for his performance the other night. But again, he has the shot at goal. We've not animated Jesus, but he's not getting in there like Xhaka and Vieira do. And Xhaka gets his goal, back amongst the goals, great to see. And then the one we've recreated today is the Palace goal. And again, it's the same thing. Trossard is the deepest player here. Funnily enough, it's actually Odegaard is all the way wide right. So Saka's come into his space and Xhaka's there as well. But Trossard is really, really deep. So when this ball is played into Zinchenko, Tompkins, this player here, has got an eye on Trossard, and that kind of confused him because he thinks if that ball goes into the striker, I'm backing myself to actually get into and make it difficult. But it's what takes the space, it takes the players away. Palace don't want to engage because they're trying to sit back and stay organised, but that's where it all goes wrong. And Xhaka, he's really clever because he's running onto it and he lays it off immediately into Trossard, and at that point it's panic stations. Lovely ball from Zinchenko, we see that all the time, lays it off. Trossard goes, thank you very much. Tompkins is too late to get back. Ward has to try and do something. It's a penalty if it's not a goal.
And, we saw in the first half the ability we got on the right-hand side with the combinations. This is another thing off the training ground for me, the way Zinchenko inverts and then Trossard comes out into the false nine role. And then it's played to Xhaka, if you just wind it back to the start.
Let's go from this bit,
So what I love about this, James, is the fact that once he plays it forward, look, we've got we're getting our lanes up high again. We've got 4 or 5 up lanes up high. Trossard is coming deep to build the play. And when he lays it back, Xhaka lays it back.
Yeah, that bit
there. Now, stop there. Look at the options here he's got. Look, we've got like 5v4. And we were doing this a lot in the game yesterday. When teams come with a back 4, we are able to create 5v4 overloads. And Trossard now, he can play in Xhaka or he could play in Saka. He makes a really right decision, an intelligent pass to Xhaka, who finishes it off with a real aplomb. And this was like redemption for Granit Xhaka. I think we're not showing his numbers today, but do you remember I said to you,
he was magnificent.
3.5 years ago against Crystal Palace, the same opponent. Emery made him captain. He got subbed off in a 2-2 draw. We weren't playing well. He got booed by the fans when he threw down his armband. And this season, what a rejuvenation! He was the players then saw him as a leader. The players now see him as a leader, not only on the pitch, in the dressing room. In this position that Arteta has created to him as his left-sided number 8, he has been absolutely brilliant this season. He had a slight dip recently, but he's back again. playing really well up high, and that was a fantastic goal. Real redemption for Granit Xhaka.
I don't know if I've ever been more wrong about a player. Do
you remember? Yeah.
I really thought. Not that I ever thought he was a bad player,
no.
But I never thought he'd be at the level we needed to get into the top four, let alone to be challenging for a Premier League title.
Yeah.
And the way he's reinvented himself, credit to Arteta for that as well. The amount of positions he picks up. Listen, we've talked about him getting forward and breaking the lines, you know, like Gundogan's done over the years, or Aaron Ramsey back in the day. But it's also the amount of times he's wide left, so Martinelli's there. The amount of times he slots in next to Partey, so there's two holding midfielders in front of the back four.
And also sometimes
he does so much. It's unbelievable.
He sometimes slips in even to left back.
Yeah.
He's so flexible, Granit Xhaka.
So Zinchenko can get forward.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable all-round footballer.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that Arteta sees something that maybe previous managers didn't, and now he's replicating, you know, this form this season. It's been absolutely wonderful to see.
It really has been. Right, we're going to go on to the roundup stats. Take it away as I get the two teams up again. There we are.
Just bear with me, mate. I'll just go to them.
No problem at all.
I can find them. Sorry about this, guys.
No worries at all. Grab a drink. No, don't grab a drink. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. I've got them. Right, the closing stats for today. Arsenal with 69 points have now equalled their points total from last season with 10 games to go. Their second highest points total they have ever accrued in a Premier League campaign. The Invincibles were the best at this stage after 28 games with 70 points.
Wow, point off. Wow.
Yeah. Arsenal have now won 6 Premier League games in a row, the joint longest winning streak in the top flight this season. Bukayo Saka now has 22 goal involvements in his last 25 games. Arsenal have conceded just 9 goals in 14 Premier League away games, but at home in 14 games, Palace's goal was the 17th they have conceded this season, so obviously not as good at home as we are away. We've touched on that before. Arsenal have now scored 15 goals between the 46th and the 60th minute this season, the most in the league. Leonardo Trossard has 6 assists in his last 5 Premier League games. I was telling you today when I come up here that since he's been in the Arsenal team since January, he's got the most assists in the league at 6. The next best is Salah with 3.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a debate to be had there where we can take him out the team at the moment.
No, I hear that.
Granit Xhaka now has 6 goals for Arsenal in all competitions. He now has 11 goal contributions. The first time he has more goals and assists than he's picked up cards, 8 in his Arsenal career. Gabriel Martinelli now has 6 goals in his last 6 Premier League games. And finally, James, we'll end on this really nice one. Arsenal go into the international break 8 points clear of Man City and a staggering 20 points and 11 league titles, 13-2 clear of Tottenham Hotspur, who have now gone 5,500 days without a trophy.
Wow.
What a way to end, eh?
A closing stat. We really hope you've enjoyed not just that stat. You know, that's my
people were
favourite.
saying to me, you don't get enough digs at Tottenham in, so I thought I'd slip on.
That's true. That is true. What a shocker. You know what? We could do a whole other show on Conte's press conference, but we won't. Unless you really want to see that, let us know. Maybe DR will let us do that. All right, everyone. We really hope you've enjoyed this show. Arsenal beat Palace 4-1. They do go into the international break 8 points ahead of Manchester City. We know they've got that game in hand. But Arsenal, you know, they can only put the pressure on as much as they can from their position, you know, at the top, from their leading position, and they've done that. Graham, always a pleasure going through this with you. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. What you made of the right-hand side, the interchange between Ben White, Saka, the way they work, the way unlock Palace. What you make of the false 9, Trossard, Jesus' return to this 11. Where does he even get in? He'll find a way. He's so brilliant. But look how everyone is playing. The competition for places is absolutely immense. Arsenal, they're on course for a Premier League. Still lots of work to do. Still lots of work. Still lots of points for grabs. But wow, it's looking good. So we hope you're enjoying it just as much as we hope you're enjoying this show. And yes, we'll see you very soon.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.